Hi, everybody. Um, yeah, look, I noted today's date has a lot of number twos in it. Okay, and I'm not talking about poo. Today, as I'm filming this from Australia on the progressive side of the date line, it is the 22nd of the 2nd, 2021. So that's a lot of twos in today's date. And as we journey through the final week of February, my sense is that with all that two energy numerologically, we're likely to feel more sensitive around relationship issues, starting with the impact of our parents' relationship on us as children, and then the significant relationships that we've had, which have left, what would you say, a residue of wounds, of unhealed aspects that have been brought to the fore through relationship. Now, if we think about the lesson of two numerologically, it's about cooperation and balance. So the more out of balance we are personally, the more polarized our perspective, the more chance there is of conflict with someone who is our polar opposite, right? Whereas the more we come into balance within ourselves, that's balance in terms of left brain, right brain function, masculine, feminine expression, spirit and matter, shadow and light. The more that we integrate our own polarities within us, the more harmonious our relationships. And this is something I go into a lot more detail in my Conscious Relationships course, which is available all year round. If you want to go check it out on my website, there's a link on the homepage, themoonwoman.com. But I want to just speak for a moment about the polarity of independence versus codependence, okay? Because we tend to fall into one of these categories. And if the feminine side is more dominant, okay, within us, and we're all comprised of feminine, masculine energy, then we're more likely to have a really strong urge to merge, okay, because the feminine is very much about unity consciousness, communion, and experiencing oneness, okay, with another being. And if this isn't balanced by a healthy sense of identity, ego, boundaries, then we can end up in codependence, okay, losing ourselves completely in our desire to truly merge with another. And, this can happen even with our kids. A lot of women, when they become mums, can lose themselves in the role of trying to do everything they can to ensure the best outcomes possible for their children. So, even if you're not currently partnered, you might lose yourself in your work trying to please your boss. Okay, we can be codependent in a lot of ways, not just in intimate relationships. Equally, when we're operating more out of the masculine side, okay, focusing more on achieving, on accumulating success through achieving certain external goals, we tend to polarize more in independence. Okay, so we can avoid emotional entanglements, we can avoid feeling, okay, and do that by intellectualizing everything, okay, keeping a distance even from our own heart, from our own sense of deep connection with ourselves, with our feelings. And this means that we're not available to ourselves, let alone being emotionally available to somebody else. And this means even if we are partnered, we aren't actually truly available to the experience of union, because, you know, we're not even present to our own feelings. So ultimately, the goal is interdependence. Okay, so when we heal this knee-jerk polarization of being afraid of partnership, which is polarizing into independence, okay, or being afraid of being alone, so we polarize into codependence. The middle path, the healthy path, is interdependence. So this is when we have a really strong sense of self, okay? We know who we are, our strengths, our weaknesses, our saboteur, our desires. We know all the facets that comprise our psyche. And that then means that we can identify what our needs are and assert those needs, speak up as an advocate on our own behalf. We can then structure our lives to ensure that we get our needs met. In relationship, we can set healthy boundaries based on an understanding of our needs and our limits. But in our modern culture, there is no template that teaches us this, okay? We certainly don't get it in our education system. And most of our parents didn't have an idea of how to map this, okay? So what we've grown up with is a template of either independence, okay, if we grew up with a sole parent often, or codependence if we grew up with our parents being together. It's rare that we have a healthy template of interdependence. So, you know, as we go through this awakening, through the quickening process, all of our relationship wounds are coming up to be healed. And particularly, I think at the moment, you know, we've got the sun moving through Pisces, which is feeling the depth of emotion, feeling our sensitivities, our old karmic patterns being, coming up to be seen. And numerologically going through the second month, which is about, you know, how do we do relationship? How do we interact with the other? And especially amplified by us moving through, you know, from the 20th right through to the 29th, all of those twos in the date, amplifying how are we out of balance and how is that impacting the quality of our relating. So, you know, as women, we can operate out of our masculine and polarize into independence, okay? Or we can be operating out of our feminine and polarize into codependence. So the way that we find the healthy, you know, middle point is to undergo a very ancient initiation path called the descent of Venus. Now, those of you that know the story of Eros and Psyche will, you know, remember that Psyche has to descend down to the underworld in order to find this elixir of true beauty. You know, she's sent by Aphrodite to find, you know, this beauty cream, which is a euphemism for her finding self-love. So too the goddess, the Mesopotamian goddess of love, Ishtar, also known as Inanna, later known to the Romans as Venus, known as Aphrodite to the Greeks, but the goddess of love, she also had to descend down into hell. She had to go to hell and back to know herself. And this was the preparation for sacred union that women undertook in the ancient world, because if we don't know ourselves, then we will lose ourselves in trying to please our partner, or we will avoid partnership We will avoid commitment for fear of making the wrong choice of a partner, okay, or for fear of losing our personal power because, you know, we've been hurt in previous relationships. So, you know, if we don't want to polarize and sabotage our relationships, then we need to undertake this ancient initiation path in order to know every facet of our womanhood that heals and strengthens our feminine sense of self so that we can identify our needs, we can identify the boundaries that we need to set for ourselves, and we can create healthy relationship dynamics. So traditionally, this path of initiation was done by women starting the new moon closest to the autumn or fall equinox. So it was done in alignment with the seasons. As the solar light waned, then we would go deep within and look at our own shadow, the parts of ourselves that we didn't know, that we just weren't aware of. So this is an initiation path that I've guided women through for 25 years. And the next intake is starting on March the 10th. So it includes, it's a 7-month journey. And each month you get initiated into one of the 7 archetypes that together comprise the feminine psyche. So we start journeying with the wild woman, and then we journey with, you know, the beautiful muse, the goddess of love. Then we journey with the inner career woman. Then we journey with the inner nurturer, the inner mother. Then we journey with the inner Amazon, the warrioress, the healer, the medicine woman. Then we journey with the inner wise woman, the mystic, and then finally the tantrika, the yogini, the Magdalene. So we are not one-dimensional. We are not simply a warrior goddess or a wild woman. Yeah, if we are to be whole, if we are to be fulfilled and create soul-fulfilling interactions, both with our soul sisters and soul brothers, but also with our beloveds, regardless of our gender preference, then we need to find the gold within. We need to find the diamond blueprint of our soul, which is multifaceted, by understanding and empowering each of these facets that make up our divine blueprint, our soul. So if you'd like to find out more about that journey, I'll put a link in the description. But as I said, we start the journey the new moon closest to the coming equinox. So there's a small window to register, and I'll be your guide every step of the way. So you'll have me mentoring you over 7 months via Q&A, question and answer, as well as 7 monthly live online circles, so I can assist you with what's been evoked, what's been triggered that month as you've journeyed through that archetype, with the support of sisterhood. So yeah, if you want access to video tutorials, articles, fun activities, beautiful you know, sacred bathing rites and ceremonies, then I invite you to check it out and join me and women of all ages, all cultures, through this ancient initiation path. And yeah, just this is a good time for, you know, reviewing and coming into balance. We're all in this big holographic crystalline chrysalis at the moment for the great rebirth, and our stuff is coming up and we are sensitive, but it is an opportunity to heal and transform and find our wings, which, you know, the butterfly, La Mariposa butterfly woman, is a woman who has found all aspects of her soul, and that's what we're here to embody at this pivotal time in our evolution as a species. So yeah, come with me, and it would be my honor to be your guide and mentor in that process. So I will put the link below, and yeah, thanks for listening. Feel free to share this video. Ciao for now.